Hi, I'm Leia. I'm a 32-year-old graphic designer, married to my husband Jake for 7 years, and we have a wonderful 6-year-old son named Mason. Life was pretty normal until 3 years ago when Mason started having seizures. The diagnosis hit us hard, childhood epilepsy. But with the right medication, Mason's seizures were completely controlled. He took his meds twice daily, and we hadn't seen a seizure in over 2 years. My mother-in-law, Patricia, had always been opinionated. She lived 20 minutes away and loved being involved in our lives, sometimes too involved. Leia, honey, I really think you should reconsider all these chemicals you're pumping into that poor boy, Patricia said during Sunday dinner about 6 months before everything happened. Mom, they're not chemicals, they're medicine, Jake replied, cutting into his steak. Medicine is chemicals, Jacob. I raised you without any of that nonsense. You turned out just fine. Mason has epilepsy, Patricia. It's not like treating a cold, I said, keeping my voice steady. Well, I just think there are natural alternatives. Essential oils, dietary changes. We've discussed this with his neurologist extensively, I interrupted. This medication keeps him safe. Patricia smiled, that tight smile she always gave when she disagreed, but didn't want to argue further. If you say so, dear. Fast forward to last month. Jake and I had a work conference in Chicago, our first real vacation in years. Patricia offered to watch Mason for the long weekend. Are you sure you're comfortable with his medication schedule? I asked her the day before we left. Of course. I wrote everything down. Morning and evening, right? Exactly. 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. It's crucial he doesn't miss doses. I've got it all under control, Leia. You two go have fun. We dropped Mason off Thursday evening. He hugged me tight at the door. Be good for Grandma, okay? I kissed his forehead. I will, Mommy. Have fun. Everything seemed fine. Patricia sent photos. Mason at the park, eating ice cream, playing board games. We called every night, and Mason sounded happy. Sunday afternoon, we picked him up. Mason ran to the car with his backpack, chattering about his weekend. But something felt off. He seemed more tired than usual, a bit wobbly on his feet. Did he sleep okay? I asked Patricia at the door. Oh, wonderfully. We had such a great time. We thanked her and headed home. That evening at 7, I went to give Mason his medication and noticed something strange. I counted the pills in the bottle. My stomach dropped. I counted again. Then again. The number hadn't changed since Thursday. Jake! I called out, my voice shaking. Jake, come here right now! He rushed into Mason's bathroom. What's wrong? Look at this. I held up the pill bottle. We left Thursday. It's Sunday. He should have taken 6 doses. 6 pills should be gone. Jake's face went pale. Maybe you counted wrong before we left? I didn't. I always count. There should be 6 pills missing. There are none missing, Jake. None. That can't be right. Call my mom. I grabbed my phone, hands trembling, and dialed Patricia. Hello, dear. Did you make it home safely? Patricia, did you give Mason his medication this weekend? Silence. Patricia? Well, Leia, I've been meaning to talk to you about that. Did you give him his medication? Now, don't take that tone with me. I did what I thought was best for my grandson. My vision blurred with rage. What does that mean? It means I didn't give him those pills. I did some research, and that medication has terrible side effects. I wasn't going to poison my grandchild. You what? I screamed into the phone. Jake grabbed it from my shaking hands. Mom, what are you talking about? I could hear Patricia's voice through the speaker, defensive now. Jacob, those pills are full of chemicals. I looked it up online. There are natural remedies that work just as well without pumping toxins into a child's developing brain. Mom, he has epilepsy. Those pills prevent seizures. I think you're both overreacting. He was perfectly fine all weekend. He was lucky, Jake shouted. Do you have any idea what could have happened? Nothing did happen, so clearly he doesn't need them as much as you think. I snatched the phone back. You deliberately withheld life-saving medication from a child. From your grandson. Life-saving? That's dramatic, Leia. He has a little condition that you're using as an excuse to medicate. We're done. Don't call us. Don't come by. We're done. I hung up. Jake stared at me, face white. We need to call Dr. Reynolds. Now. Monday morning, we sat in Dr. Reynolds' office with Mason playing in the corner. The pediatric neurologist listened to everything, his expression growing darker with each detail. So she didn't give him any doses for 3 days? Dr. Reynolds asked, writing notes. Not a single one, I confirmed. And how is Mason feeling now? Tired, a little off balance. We restarted his medication last night. Dr. Reynolds leaned back in his chair. You understand this was incredibly dangerous, right? Missing 1 dose increases seizure risk, missing 6 doses consecutively. Mason could have had a breakthrough seizure at any moment, a severe one. That's what I told her, Jake said, his voice hollow. I need to document this. This constitutes medical neglect. I'm legally obligated to report it. Report it to who? I asked. Child Protective Services, for starters. And I'm going to recommend you speak with the police. What your mother-in-law did wasn't just negligent. It was criminally negligent. Jake's phone rang. He looked at the screen and grimaced. It's my dad. Answer it, I said. Let's hear what he has to say. Jake put it on speaker. Dad? Jacob, what the hell is going on? Your mother is beside herself. She says Leia screamed at her and you won't let her see Mason. Did she tell you why, Dad? Something about medication? She said you're being unreasonable. She withheld Mason's seizure medication for 3 entire days because she doesn't believe in it, Jake said flatly. Silence on the other end. Dad? She did what? Didn't give him his epilepsy medication. Not once, for 3 days. Jesus Christ! His father's voice cracked. Is Mason okay? He's fine, thankfully. But he could have had a seizure at any time. Dr. Reynolds just told us it could have been fatal. Put your mother on the phone with me. Right now. She's not here. We haven't spoken to her since last night. I'm coming over there. Don't make any decisions until I get there. I need to understand this. An hour later, Richard, Jake's father, sat in our living room, head in his hands. I don't understand, he kept saying. How could she do this? Did you know she was into this anti-medication stuff? I asked. She's mentioned things over the years, preferring natural remedies. But I never imagined she'd do something like this. What has she said to you about it? Jake pressed. She called me this morning, crying. Said you two were overreacting, that Mason was completely fine, that the medication was optional. Optional? I stood up, pacing. His neurologist prescribed it to prevent seizures, brain damage, death. Nothing about that is optional. I know, Leia. I know. I'm not defending her. I'm trying to understand how my wife could be this reckless. Reckless doesn't cover it, Dad. This was deliberate, calculated. She made a conscious choice every single time she was supposed to give him medicine. Richard looked up at us, tears in his eyes. What are you going to do? Dr. Reynolds is filing a CPS report. We're going to the police this afternoon to file a formal complaint. Police? Leia, she's family. She endangered our child, Richard. She gets no special treatment because she's family. But prison? You'd send Jake's mother to prison? I'd send anyone to prison for doing this to my son, I said coldly. My best friend Carmen called that afternoon. She was a family law attorney and had dealt with similar cases. Leia, this is serious, like genuinely criminal, she said when I explained everything. I know. We're going to the police. Good. Document everything. Every conversation, every text, every interaction. Save everything Patricia has ever said about medication or natural remedies. I've been going through our text history. There's plenty. Excellent. I'm going to connect you with a criminal attorney I know, Marcus Webb. He specializes in cases involving child endangerment. You really think we need a lawyer? Absolutely. Patricia's going to fight this. She'll claim she didn't know or didn't understand or that you're exaggerating. You need someone who can make the charges stick. 2 days later, Patricia showed up at our house unannounced. I opened the door to find her standing there with a casserole dish and a smile. Hi, sweetheart. I thought I'd bring dinner and we could talk about this misunderstanding. Get off my property. Her smile faltered. Leia, please. I'm trying to make amends. You nearly killed my son. There are no amends. That's absurd. He was perfectly fine. I stepped onto the porch, getting in her face. He was lucky. Do you understand the difference? Jake appeared behind me. Mom, you need to leave. Jacob, honey, I'm your mother. We can work this out as a family. No, we can't, he said firmly. What you did was unforgivable. Patricia's face hardened. I did what I thought was right. That medication is poison. It's medicine, I shouted. Prescribed by a doctor. Doctors don't know everything. I did my research. Your research? I laughed bitterly. What medical degree do you have, Patricia? Where did you go to medical school? I don't need a degree to know what's best for children. I raised 3 of my own. And you think that qualifies you to override a pediatric neurologist? To make life or death medical decisions for someone else's child? He's my grandson! He's my son! I screamed. Mine! And you almost killed him with your ignorance. Patricia's voice turned cold. You're being hysterical, Leia. This is exactly why women shouldn't be so emotional about medical decisions. Jake stepped between us. Mom, that's enough. You need to leave right now, or I'm calling the police. The police? You'd call the police on your own mother? We already did, I said quietly. We filed a report yesterday. You're under investigation for child endangerment. Her face went white. You wouldn't. We would. We did. This is insane. I didn't hurt him. You withheld medication that prevents brain damage, Jake said. That's the definition of hurting him. I want to see Mason. Let me explain to him. Absolutely not, I snapped. You'll never be alone with him again. You'll be lucky if we let you see him at all. Patricia's eyes filled with tears. Please, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Sorry? I stepped closer. You think sorry fixes this? You think sorry makes up for putting my 6-year-old at risk of a seizure that could have killed him? I didn't think. Exactly. You didn't think. You didn't think about his safety. You didn't think about the consequences. You only thought about your ignorant, dangerous beliefs. Leia, please. No, there is no please. There is no forgiveness. There is no second chance. You made your choice when you decided your Google research was more important than my son's life. Patricia looked at Jake desperately. Jacob, I'm begging you. I'll do anything. I'll apologize. I'll take classes. It's too late, Mom, Jake said, his voice breaking. You crossed a line you can never come back from. Patricia's desperation turned to anger. You'll regret this, both of you, turning your back on family over something so trivial. Trivial? I advanced on her. Say that word again. I dare you. She backed toward her car. You're being ridiculous. Wait until the police hear my side. Wait until they understand I was protecting him from dangerous chemicals. Leave! Now! Patricia got in her car, rolled down the window. This isn't over, Leia. I have rights. Grandparents have rights. Try it, I said coldly. See what happens when you try to claim rights to a child you endangered? See how that works out in court? She peeled out of the driveway. Jake put his arm around me as I shook with fury. The police investigation moved quickly. Detective Morrison interviewed us extensively. We need to establish intent, she explained. Did Patricia know the medication was necessary? She absolutely did, I said, pulling up text messages. Look, from last year, I understand Mason needs his medication for seizures. From 6 months ago, I know the pills are important. She knew, and she still withheld them? Because she thinks she knows better than medical professionals. Detective Morrison made notes. We also spoke with Dr. Reynolds. His statement is damning. He confirmed that missing doses could have resulted in serious injury or death. What happens now? Jake asked. We're pursuing charges of reckless endangerment of a child. It's a Class E felony in this state. Will she serve time? If convicted? Possibly. At minimum, she'll face probation, fines, and mandated parenting classes. But given the severity and her complete lack of remorse, I'm pushing for jail time. Richard called Jake that night, his voice defeated. Your mother got arrested today. I know. Detective Morrison called us. She's hysterical, Jake. Keeps saying this is all a huge misunderstanding. It's not, Dad. You know it's not. She wants to apologize face to face. She wants to make this right. There is no making this right, Jake said firmly. She's talking about pleading guilty, if you'll agree to drop the charges. No. Jake, please. Dad, I love you, but Mom nearly killed my son because she thought her internet research trumped medical science. She gets to face the consequences. 3 months later, we sat in the courtroom as Patricia pleaded guilty to reckless endangerment. Her attorney had worked out a deal: 18 months supervised probation, 500 hours community service, mandatory parenting and medical education classes, and a permanent restraining order keeping her from Mason. Patricia turned to look at us before sentencing, her eyes pleading. I stared back, unmoved. The judge spoke. Mrs. Peterson, you placed a child's life in danger through willful ignorance and arrogance. You betrayed the trust placed in you as a caregiver. The court accepts your guilty plea. After sentencing, Richard approached us in the hallway. She wants to write Mason a letter, to explain. No, I said immediately. Leia, please. She's broken. She's sorry. She's sorry she got caught. She's sorry she has consequences. She's not sorry for what she actually did. How can you be so heartless? Heartless? I looked him dead in the eye. I'm protecting my son from someone who nearly killed him. That's not heartless. That's being a mother. Carmen met us outside the courthouse. How do you feel? She asked. Relieved, I said honestly. She can't hurt him again. Mason asked about her yesterday, Jake said quietly. Asked when Grandma could visit. What did you tell him? That Grandma made bad choices and can't visit anymore. He seemed okay with it. Carmen squeezed my hand. You did the right thing. Both of you. That night, Mason was asleep, and Jake and I sat on the porch. Do you think we went too far? He asked. No, I said without hesitation. She made her choice. She chose her beliefs over our son's safety. We chose his safety over everything else. I'd make the same choice 1,000 times. I just never thought my own mother could do something like this. People show you who they are. We just have to believe them. We sat in silence, watching the sunset. My phone buzzed. A message from Mason's school, confirming his medical information was updated and emergency protocols were in place. Everything was documented. Everything was protected. Mason was safe. That's all that mattered. Has someone in your family ever put your child at risk? How did you handle it? Drop your stories in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more true stories about standing up for your family.